Alright, so we're back in the world of Where Winds Meet, and guys, in today's video, we're going to be going over my overpowered tank build. I noticed a lot of players were missing a tank. I noticed a lot of people wanted a tank build, and I didn't really see any good explanations on how to play a proper tank in Where Winds Meet. I think today would be a great time to show it off. I've noticed that tanks do some pretty insane damage, all things considered, a lot of times competing with a lot of DPSs, and from my experience as using a tank, I'm actually contending with a lot of DPSs, even out damaging them in a lot of cases. I think if you're looking to contribute to a support role while also somehow dealing damage just as comparable to a DPS, then this is going to be great for you. I'm going to show you how to build it. Let's dive right on into the video. Alright, so going over to our equipment, let's talk about the different martial arts we're going to be using. And first off, we're going to be using the Thundercry Blade and the Stormbreaker Spear. Now, why are we using these two weapons? First off, the Thundercry Blade has a really good built-in shield that's going to be very strong to just keep you alive. It's a fairly low cooldown, and it's going to actually proc a lot of benefits, especially for your charge-based abilities. And then it's going to have its main charge abilities on this left click and your right click that's going to help you deal with certain situations, which makes you do a ton of damage. Now, when it comes to the Stormbreaker Spear, the reason we're using this is because it's going to be one of your best taunting tools, and it's going to be one of your best buffing tools as well. Very similar to many builds you'll see. There's usually a weapon that's used to buff, which is going to be our Stormbreaker Spear, and then our Thundercry Blade is going to be our spinner, or things that use our buffs to just do damage. That's the core concept of it, and I'm going to break down how to use these weapons right now, but that's how we're going to be using it. All right, so first things first, how does this build work? I'm trying to explain it to you in the best way I can. So at the bottom right, you'll notice that both of these weapons have a form of resources that's consumed whenever you do it. There's like 5 pips there. I'll have it zoom in, and you'll notice when you use certain abilities, it will consume it. As you can see here, we consumed it, and it will generate over time. A great way of getting more is by blocking and or using certain skills. For example, this skill here will give you some energy back as well, and that's going to be one of the ways you basically maintain that resources, especially just getting hit. Generally, you're going to be getting hit most of the time, so it should be fairly easy. The rotation is simple. You're going to usually lead with the spear because the spear has a few things. First off, this is going to be your major taunting tool and damage reduction tool. It's going to help you out quite a bit. And then this skill here is going to apply a debuff that does vulnerable damage on them, making them take more damage to set you up for skills. After that, you're going to get this buff called, what's it called again? Drumbeat. Whenever you choose the full R ability, and you let the animation play through, when you hit the enemy, you're going to get Drumbeat, which is going to enhance your Mo Blade. So we're going to do it again. Got Drumbeat, swap over, and as you can see here, our shield has it. We're going to consume it, and this is going to put us in a stance called Breakthrough. That makes it so whenever we do this charge heavy attack, we're going to do a lot of damage. And it's going to give, I believe it was 30% increase. So this is going to be like kind of how you get more damage out of it. If you're wondering how to do the charge heavy, just hold R, and then you press it again, and then he'll do the triple slash. So that's how you do it. And your left click does it too as well. You can hold the left click, and he'll do a AoE thingy. And that's mainly for like mobbing and stuff. So that's how you're going to do it. R is going to be for your heavy, like single target, since you're going to be doing a ton of damage, and it does a ton. Now, as you can see there on the right side, I lost my will, so I couldn't do any more. That's because I ran out of my will. And of course, you're always going to be weaving in your thing there, and obviously you're going to be blocking attacks, and that's how you're going to maintain that resource. So enter the fight, taunt, you're going to hit them with that, do the charge to get the buff, swap over, Q to get the shield buff, and then you're going to just start punching depending on the enemy type. You don't necessarily need to swap immediately to maintain it. I like to do it like 2 times, especially depending on if the boss is moving. You don't necessarily need to taunt after if you don't want to, because a lot of times they're already taunted. Unless you're in a very dangerous situation, you can go back into taunt. But a lot of times I would just vulnerable first, and then I'll hold R and get the Drumbeat, and then just swap right back, and then go back into doing this. And boom, 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 you're pretty much good to go. And as you saw there, you can animation cancel things, and that's really cool. So I'm charging. You can animation cancel most attacks, just in case you're in a bad situation, you're about to get hit, animation cancel that out, and then get out of the way, things like that. Next, we're going to be taking a look at our gear, and what we're going to be using is the Rain Whisper set. This is going to give you max HP, and then all your crit damage and healing is going to be 10%, and this is going to be increased by 15% whenever you're using an HP shield. We're going to have multiple HP shields on this build, so it's important that we're utilizing this. Stats you're looking for is mold blade damage increase, max attack, power, max stone split damage, minimum attack, agility, and then ideally crit rate over precision rate if possible. And then for our armor, we're going to be once again using what is this, form bin set. This is going to give us physical defense, and then your shield duration is extended by 2 seconds if you have more than 85% of your ki. A key damage immune shield reduces all HP damage by 20%, and this again is just a very defensive tool. I just said a second ago what you want on your armor, so that's what you're looking for. All right, next let's talk about our inner ways. First off, we're going to be using Morale Chant. This is one that we've talked about many times on the channel. You're always going to be using. It's just going to give you pin, physical pin, and it's going to give you damage. It's really nice. Great, one of the more consistent damaging tools that you should be using. If you want to pick it up, if you haven't picked it up somehow, is at Tangbao here, located in the Blissful Retreat teleporter here. And then the other one you can pick up for, not for free, but you know, you'll have to gamble for is here, this Wei-Yan merchant here, located in Kaifeng. You can go ahead and get that one as well, and you can break through to at least the first tier and get this chant. So next we're going to be using Exquisite Scenery, and what this does is whenever you activate your special counterattack on Thundercry Blade, your main weapon, whenever you use a heavy skill or perception skill, you can activate the first level of charging your a charge heavy attack without having to charge. And also whenever you hit an enemy with a varied combo, this is going to just give you battle will. So this is just essentially a decent DPS increaser, and it's going to be a good sustaining tool for your battle will, so you're actively able to do it more. For our next item we're going to be using, or our next chant we're going to be using Battle Anthem, and what this does is increase charge skill damage against all enemies, including players, by 60%, with less than 60% endurance by 10%. Now, here's the thing. There are two other ones you can use, well, one other one you can use in place of this, but Battle Anthem is going to be ideal once you get it to level 4, because I don't think there's a better thing that's higher than this. Once you get it to this point here, this is by far the best one that you're going to use. Otherwise, what I would recommend using is Adaptive Steel, because your Mo Blade increased the crit damage of charge skills and parry counters by 20%. That's a pretty strong damage, and also you're using a spear, so you're going to ignore 12.5% of physical defense. Make sure you're using either Adaptive Steel or Battle Anthem. Anything else, I don't think it worked. I think I saw someone in my channel said use Trap Beast. This one is not very good. I would never use this ever, so don't use Trap Beast. Finally, we're going to be using Art of Resistance, and Art of Resistance is super annoying to get, but what it does is it increases duration of your HP shield and the bonus effects of his source skill by 4 seconds. And this is super important because you're going to be using shield skills a lot, and a lot of the source skills actually has things that give you more buff duration, like a buff, so you'll get like I believe it's like 15% crit damage when your shield is up or something. So you actually want to keep your shield up, and that's why this one's good. It doesn't actually increase your HP, your shield, but it is decent because it just makes your damage go further. And when you get some upgrade, you will get like crit and stuff like that, so you do get some shielding stuff as you break it through, but initially it's not going to be that great in terms of like defensiveness. It's mainly an offensive tool early on, funny enough. Now, if you want to find Battle Anthem, just come over here to the Buddha Fort. This is going to give you Battle Anthem. If you're looking to get Exquisite Scenery, I don't know why I say that word so weird, but Exquisite Scenery, you can come here to the Bamboo Adobe. There's that Puppeteer Master guy here. This is like the first field boss you run into. I'm sure once again you guys already killed this boss, so it should be fairly easy to get. When it comes to Art of Resistance, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this one was an absolute shit show. I'm going to leave a Wikipedia or like a guide in the description on how to do this, because it was the most buggiest quest I've ever played in this entire game. You know, I love to give you guys information on how to do it, but it'd be better that way. It was just terrible. For our Mystic skills, let's go over what we're going to be using. First off, we're going to be using Cloud Step. Cloud Step is just going to be a great way for mobility to get in position, and it's going to be really good for your Guardian Palm. Generally speaking, you're not going to be dealing with AoE mobs. Your DPS should deal with that effectively. But as you can see on the screen on the right, you'll get some extra damage in the AoE, which is pretty decent. Cloud Step, you get it naturally. Guardian Palm, you get it from doing the mission here. Where 1,000 Buddhas wept, and you'll get it here very easily. Next, we're going to be using Golden Body. This one's very straightforward and obvious, right? It's going to give you a ton of damage reduction, fortitude, healing in, and it's just good for like just making you stay alive. You're going to usually be floating a lot of power anyway, because there's no reason for you to be casting anything other than your main melee skills anyway. So this one works really well. To find this, you just come here to this Buddhist hut. What is it called? The Grand Imperial Temple. There's going to be a guy sitting right here in the courtyard. You just steal it from him. He usually there at like 7 a.m. Finally, the thing that I think is important is to grab Serene Breeze. This is something you're going to naturally have from just playing the game. And this one is just very good for CC, just in case you're the tank, right? And sometimes you get controlled, and if you die, sometimes a lot of times your raid will die. So it's important that you get out of control. And that's why I always put this on my back bar to be a little bit safe. Another alternative option that is good, which I wouldn't personally use, if I'm being honest, is called Lion Drawer. Some people stand by it because they give you damage reduction, but honestly, the cast animation is way too long, and I don't want to just be doing this just for damage reduction during. I think it's bad. Like, honestly, I think it's bad. You shouldn't use it, but some people say they live and die by it. You could argue it, but I don't know. I wouldn't use it personally. And there you have it, guys. That's everything you need to know for this overpowered tank build. As I said, I tend to do really good damage. I'm usually in the top like 3, sometimes even number 1, depending on how good or bad my DPS is. Regardless, I think this is a very solid build. I hope it scales into more later on where I can do comparable damage. But anyway, it's a very fun build. I think it's worth picking up, and I would highly recommend you guys try it out. I will be live streaming here on YouTube as well as Twitch, just short of every day, and I'm going to be playing this tank build for probably the next week or so, seeing that we have a while before the next gear change. So if you want to ask questions or just see how I play it, feel free to stop by the channel. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to leave me a like as well as subscribe to the channel. I am going to be providing a lot of upcoming videos for Where Winds Meet and just other games you probably are interested in. So make sure to show your support by subscribing. Help me out a ton. I really appreciate you all being here. And just like that, young masters, I'll see you in the next one very soon.